Welcome back to Quick Bites.
We also don't have a recording limit anymore.
What?
Not that we usually go over it, but just if we
For
have
those
to.
watching, we had a camera that would time out after 30 minutes, and we couldn't figure out how to change it.
You don't got to expose us like that, but...
Hey, it's truthful. It's honesty.
Yeah, the Sony really changed the game with the A7 IV.
We don't have drinks today. Did you have coffee this morning?
I didn't. I just had a energy liquid IV.
So. I love that you carry your KZB Yeti, like, everywhere with you. Like, I saw him at the gym the other morning, and he's drinking out of a Yeti at the gym.
Well, yeah, when I get, like, one water bottle, I drink out of it for, like, a year straight.
I love that. I love that. How's your Thanksgiving?
It was good. Relaxing. It was actually, like, the first week that I just, like, had a lot of downtime. I was kind of bored, but it's probably a good thing. Like, I drafted all of our posts for the whole week.
Wow.
So I just go post. And I was done, like,
nice.
5 minutes a day. So, like, work was, like, 5 minutes a day. And slept in till like 8 or 9 every morning. It was refreshing. It was a good reset.
It was nice. I feel like I sent out way too many emails over like the holiday week last week because now I feel like my inbox is just blowing up left and right this week. So everybody's trying to squeeze shit in before the new year.
Yeah, it's the awkward time between Thanksgiving and Christmas where it's like, are people working? Like,
you keep looking at me like, Blake, are you paying attention? I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to find some
no, it's like, are people working? Then it's
you.
like, is Blake gonna have another kid?
Yeah, do any day now, dude. It's gonna be chaos for about the rest of my life.
Oh man. You got Kenzie at home, and then just have like the nanny.
Dude, this is the
time.
greatest thing ever. My oldest, Aria, she freaking loves Christmas movies, and I have her hooked on Elf right now.
Classic.
And so she like wants to watch it every night, and she's super excited for me to tuck her in at bed and have tickle fights.
That's
so funny.
Just make sure she doesn't start eating spaghetti with maple
All right,
syrup.
she asked for that for breakfast this morning. So, what's going on in the world? We've got, I hate that we always talk about Elon, but I feel like he is just a dominant force in creating some chaos
at the moment. Twitter. Yeah. At the moment, he's like ruling the world.
Yeah.
Because like Apple kind of does that right now, and he's the only one that's like challenging Apple.
Yeah. Our topic of the day is App Store.
Yeah.
30% fees.
Yeah. And
it's crazy.
ePhone.
ePhone.
Is that coming?
Tesla phone.
Did you get your cologne? Burnt hair?
Not yet. I wonder if I really hope it just smells like ass, like straight burnt hair.
Yeah, that's not a great scent. But yeah, so the App Store. 30% fee. I didn't really know the depths of that. Or how that really worked. Because I don't know, did you send me something or I read something that was like no one's ever been able to challenge it?
Yeah, because Apple is such a, I mean, shoot, they were smart enough to develop the phone, the product. Now our lives are so ingrained in these phones, they control that landscape.
Yeah.
Even
now, especially with iOS 16.
Yes.
Everything's so much more interactive, more than it already was.
And it works for you in ways. I'm trying to find my notes that I sent to you.
I think in the last year, I've really started to understand how my phone is more of a tool than whatever.
What it's used for. Like, I just have it to call my friends and family and FaceTime my grandparents.
Yeah.
No, it's a device that has changed the world dramatically, from a technological standpoint. But App Store fees. So if you develop an app, from my understanding, you are paying roughly 30% of your app. I don't know if it's the full app revenue or if it's
just
the purchase price. Let's say we were buying an app for $3.
But like, what apps do you buy these days?
That's so true.
Like 3?
Because it's all in-app purchases. So that's the other thing that I didn't have a hot minute to research, and I was kind of confused about.
Come on.
Does Apple take 30% of your in-app purchases as well? I think so.
And on top of ad revenue?
Yes. Like just the app revenue.
Like the total, yeah.
Yep. And where that gets really interesting is that a lot of these apps wouldn't have the ability to reach consumers without Apple.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, like they
I'm
can't
just going
go
to run an
anywhere else.
app on my Dell computer. Yeah, it's like they kind of have the right to control what's out there to an extent, but at the same time, in ways, it's a total monopoly.
Yeah, I mean, they need to work on it though for like Mac. Like I have to go to Safari to download Spotify. Like, come on, like what are we doing? Like,
Do
why
you
is
think
there?
it should just be built into the product?
Well, not necessarily that, but like in the App Store. Like I want to go to the App Store and search up Spotify and download it. Not have to go to Safari, search, download Spotify, and then because you have to go through like a
Web
browser,
versus the App Store.
which is just confusing to me because I'm like, I mean, I understand that it's like optimized for iPhone, but like you can still get it on your laptop. So I don't know.
Right.
It's just certain things like that. Very like I don't know if I've ever downloaded an app from the App Store on my computer.
I know.
Besides
Isn't that
like
odd?
Final Cut, but
Yeah.
which
It's
is an
really
Apple.
interesting how that landscape works because of it. And I don't know, this whole thing with Twitter delisting or the App Store potentially delisting Twitter is really fascinating to me.
Because like, how would you be able to get it?
If
not?
that I don't know.
Well, I mean, Elon could.
Would it be a web
figure it
browser? I mean, you always could just have
True.
not an app, but like a tile link on
Mm-hmm.
your iPhone that takes you to the web browser of Twitter. But I mean, that's just 4 steps instead of 1.
Yeah. So then Elon's like, I'll just make the phone.
I'll just make a phone. Screw you guys. What's interesting about him saying that is no one's really competed against Apple. I mean, Samsung, I don't really look at them.
Well, it's
Even
like
though
Coke and
they
Pepsi,
are a competitor, like they make each other better, but that's why not one of them is monopoly.
But also like, I mean, I would probably call Apple a little bit, like low key, but I feel like there's enough consumers for each to where it makes it not universal.
For Apple and Samsung.
Yeah. Like Coke and Pepsi. Like
Right.
people like one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some people, whatever.
I just could
Drink
care
both.
less.
But like
I'm
you don't
do you have
use
a diet what?
Yeah,
I'll
you
take
don't
it.
you don't drink you don't use a Samsung and an iPhone.
Yeah, you don't.
It's one or the other, and
One
you're
or the
usually
other.
pretty stern in that belief.
Yes. Yes. Have you ever tried a Samsung phone?
No,
I tried one
no.
for 1 month when like the S6 came out, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go Samsung because it's smarter and better. Used it for a month and was like, this is the most confusing fucking thing in my life.
Yeah, I don't know. I just the congruency between all my devices I don't know. It's really nice.
In this era of time, if you are segregated with like not having an Apple computer and an Apple iPhone, then you're just kind of fucked. Like
Yeah,
nothing will sync.
yeah. Because I don't really know. I mean, what you can buy a Samsung phone.
I don't even know how. My mom uses
Dell
Samsung.
laptop.
It drives me nuts. I'm like, Mom, these green texts.
Your mom does?
Yeah.
Did you see that? Now Samsung, if you like a message, it won't say Blake liked your message. It'll actually show the like on your message.
Oh, well.
But when Samsung likes Apple ones now, it's only goes Apple to Samsung, not Samsung back to Apple.
Ooh.
So it's like getting closer to being more like less hard to like communicate between the two.
Right.
But it was just funny that it's compatible now with Samsung, but Samsung's not compatible
backwards.
with Apple.
Yeah. I don't know. This whole Elon thing, making his own phone is I don't think it's going to happen but it could be like, I don't know. That's what he did to the freaking car industry. It's disrupted, and he is a disruptor. I mean, maybe the phone will like float next to you.
Or it'll be in your brain.
Yeah. Hey, another topic that's interesting to me is Amazon Alexa is like getting thrashed and trashed right now. Like Amazon is losing I read it was 10 billion a year this year on all of the development that they thought that Amazon Alexa would take off like it did, and it just hasn't quite caught on because I think, and it goes back to everything that we talk about all the time. It's like, yes, we have the technology to do all of these things, but it's the consumer adoption is what makes it come to fruition. Like we have the technology for full self-driving cars. Like we do, but consumers are not adopting it fast enough.
That's a big thing. So like voice command, like I've never had an Alexa. I've never had any of that stuff because I'm just like, it's not practical for me. Like I can just do it myself, whatever.
Yeah.
I think Gary's a big proponent of that in the future, of like everyone's just going to be like, hey, order me this, boom, and he'll do it.
Well, I think that that's false. I disagree with that 100%
Really?
because the brain power it takes to use that, it doesn't need to be around all the time unless you need to know something. So it's like,
True.
How often do you forget to Google things now? Like that would be a use case for it. It's like, and Gary uses the example, okay, what's the 46th president of the United States of America? Like, when do you ever really need to know that?
Yeah.
But for like random quick hit stuff, I think it's a use case, but I don't think that devices are already smart enough that you can program them and you can teach them to read and react without you having to say anything. So that's where I think it's going to the extent of, oh, my garage door knows that I'm a mile away from my house, so it opens it up automatically. Mm-hmm. I don't have to say,
I see what you're saying.
Alexa, open the garage door.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I feel like technology is past Alexa because of the consumer adoption level, not absorbing it and using it. Yes, I use Alexa for music sometimes at my house, timers when I'm cooking, but that's about it.
You know what's funny? Like, I'm Gen Z, right? So very like up with the times.
Oh, you're up with the times,
well,
huh?
like, I'm just like in the technology. I know how it all works, but like I don't use a lot of it. Like,
right.
Like I just started using reminders on Apple, and like I don't like everything. I do everything manually. Like, I don't know. I don't think I've adapted to, like, I think my processes and my life could be a lot easier if I took the time to like implement the tools that I have in front of me
that we are presented with.
I just never,
because like
passes
even
my mind.
Like speaking of this, like there's that app shortcuts on your phone that you can program things in your phone, and I've seen some wild ones where it's like,
I've seen the TikTok.
You
of that
can
dude.
geofence like certain things to react. I haven't seen the one you're talking about, but
So they're called NFC tags, and it's pretty much just
I think I've seen that.
They're just like a white dot, and it's just like a little chip. And you tap it, you sync it, and it's like, all right, when this NFC tag is, and if you have a smart home, it's a lot easier and more compatible. But when you tap it, this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens. So like you walk in the front door, tap it, your home locks your door, turns on your music in the living room, and also,
Turns on
whatever.
Close
your
mood
garage
lighting
or whatever.
Yep.
With one tap. So like I think that's really cool. And I actually got some, and I was like testing out like how can this be
Did you
useful to me?
really?
And so like I would tap it, and it would open my app to unlock my door to my apartment. So like I don't have a smart home though. That's the disconnect. You have to have a
You have to have the full
congruent
system.
Yeah.
And that's what's like really interesting. I have probably on a scale of 1 to 10, probably I would say from what I've seen on, 10 being the smartest home possible, probably a 4. Like music, TV, audio, some lights in our house are connected to the system, and it's so nice when I'm laying in bed and I left lights or a TV on or something, and I can just hit one button, good night, and it all shuts off. Yeah. I just wish it'd shut the garage doors for me. This is a shout out to my wife because she always yells at me because I forget to close the garage door because I'm from Boise, Idaho.
How do you forget to close
the
garage?
Dude, I was born in a house where my mom left the front door open and unlocked and the garage door is open 24/7. Like that was just our life.
I did grow up with our garage door being open constantly.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm very like, I have, like OCD, so I'm very like I have process. So I'm like, all right, turn my car off, garage, door, inside. Kind of, so it's just like engraved in me to close the garage door. But one thing I want to touch on about the Amazon thing, I was talking to Bree's dad about the Whole Foods, because he's a superintendent for ESI. So he's building a Whole Foods right now in Albuquerque. But I was asking him, I was like, have you ever built one of the Whole Food Amazon, self-checkout stores? Like,
ooh, yeah.
Did you just put it in your cart and go? And he was like, I haven't. We have though, but he was like, I heard it's a pain in the butt because it's like all the sensors and like the efficiency seems like it's not really there yet from like a construction standpoint.
I want to speak on that because I feel like that industry of construction, it's the good old boys, very blue collar, like hard worker, hammer, nail, saw, like build shit.
Yeah.
When you layer in technology, it's really confusing for them. So like
there's a divide.
Yes. And when it comes to smart homes, here's another thing. The technology's there. Like I can even see how it works inefficiently, but my installers that install my type of technology don't quite understand how the consumer uses it. They're such tech nerds because they need to know that for how the system works, but they have a disconnect to how the consumer uses it. Like when they set up my home system, there's like 15 apps that you can select from for music. It's like Amazon, it's like Apple Music, you have 20 of them. I said, delete all of those out of there. I only need one. He goes, well, you could have these different accounts and these. And it was just confusing because there's a disconnect between construction technology, and then there's a disconnect between technology and the everyday consumer, because we all absorb those things so differently. So speaking of the Amazon Go stores, like I think more of them would be built because it's very useful, but they can't get the right construction companies or understanding of sensors and the technology to install them efficiently.
Well, yeah, then it's
you
like,
kind of see that?
Yeah. It's like, is it worth it to ESI to hire someone to train all these construction workers on how to properly
install all these little sensors? It's a whole division within a construction company. It's like, our technology IT department or whatever.
Well, that's why, you built out the office, and then you had the audio visual dude come in and set up everything. So it's like, it wasn't done with
hand
the
in
office.
hand. Yeah.
So,
and then the huge shortage in labor in that arena is a huge problem with the growth of technology in an office space, in a grocery, like there's not installers. Like the people I used on my house, like it's one dude that owns a company.
Yeah.
And he's got a right-hand guy that's really good too. But they were like, we've been through like 7 employees in the last year because we can't find the labor and we can't pay crazy wages. If someone's going to go into tech, they're going to go be a software engineer and make $200K a year and sit on their booty,
They're going to be sending 3 emails.
So there's a huge disconnect in that space that, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, because I've been to a few of those Amazon Go stores and it like blows your mind how efficient it is. And it's just weird. Like I saw there's one in an airport now, and it's you just grab your shit and go.
That's like crazy. And then like charges it to your Amazon account.
Yep.
That's crazy.
It's
technology.
really interesting.
That's cool though. I think it would catch on eventually. But speaking of construction, you see the new JP Morgan Chase building in New York?
Wow.
I sent you that, right?
Yeah.
That thing looks crazy. It baffles me. Like I can't wrap my head around like building 150-story buildings. Like I just can't. So I see that. I'm just like, how in the...
And it's interesting because like some of these architectural designs that these guys are doing, like there's this building in Chicago and they had a setback off the river that they had to build. So like the bottom 3 floors of the building are slanted outwards, and then the building goes up, and you're like, how does the weight load bearing? And it's like, oh, well, because they had to build 200 feet deep into the ground to have enough like load bearing for all of the hanging weight with the wind. Like, I'm like, whoa,
dude, that's really crazy. Like, even in this tiny ass building that we're in right now, I'm just like, how in the hell?
Isn't it weird that like we consider this a tiny ass building in the big scheme of things?
Well, yeah,
because it is. What is it?
20
19 stories?
Yeah.
Like most buildings, and I mean these big cities are.
Like when we were in Minneapolis, I never had to look that like straight up to see a building. I'm like seeing them in person, like growing up in like Boise, Idaho, is like seeing those buildings is just like, these are huge.
They're massive.
Like I can't see this building from anywhere but like coming
downtown.
towards it.
Yeah, you can't see it from like when you're Meridian.
Yeah, when you're like in another city, like you can see. Like I remember I was like flying into Houston or whatever, and like we weren't next to Houston, but like the airport's pretty far away from it, but like I could see all the buildings.
Yeah.
And it's like how tall they have to be to do that.
To like see it from a distance. It's interesting.
It's crazy to me. But
it's wild. Any fun real estate facts in the local market that you know?
Real estate facts. I'm not the real estate guy.
I know, I'm the real estate guy.
How is it looking? I mean,
it's interesting right now.
In commercial. I was actually talking to Bree's dad. Sorry to interject.
No, go for it.
He was asking me, he was like, what's the real estate market like? And I was like, the commercial market is a lot different than the residential right now, right? Because like rates aren't really dropping. If anything, they're raising, right?
Yeah, I think we're at this like
rental rates
stagnation point that like we're not like going down. We're just getting back to equilibrium.
Yeah, nothing's really
we
happening.
were so out of inventory for so many years. I mean, I've been in commercial real estate for close to 8 years now, like actively doing deals. And for the first time ever, I'm actually seeing options for buyers and leverage in negotiations that they haven't had in many years. It's like you pay the list price or you miss out. And now they actually have the ability to put some pressures on sellers. And for many people, they think, oh, well, it's a recession. No, it's just equilibrium. It's a balance, and Boise's been to speak to it, the industrial market in Boise, Idaho, over the last 10 years has been in such a deficit because of availability. There was one local guy that owned close to a $150, $200 million portfolio of industrial land and properties. And he finally sold that close to 4 years ago. And now the new owners are finally developing it out. So it's helping with the issue that we've had of such low vacancy. It's been like below 2%, which is nuts.
Crazy. Isn't New York's like,
I have no idea. Like just in some of these bigger cities, like to have some vacant warehouses, things like that, like that's good for growth. If you're like upside down,
well, it gives you the option to grow.
Exactly. It does. Like where we've had it so locked up in one person's control for so many years, it's really hurt our place on the map from an industrial, like manufacturing, like pass through place, because Salt Lake is obviously 5 years ahead of us from that standpoint. But it's nice to finally see those balancing out. If we go into a recession next year, we're already in one. Based on the data in the stock market, like we're in a recession.
I was talking to Jake this morning on the treadmill about that. I was like, I forget that we're in a recession.
I know.
Like what, like it's just a numbers thing, really.
Yeah. It's all a data game. And then it's how you live your life. I think it's smart to be wary of your $100 meals out.
Yeah.
Right now. But,
we're not the two to talk about that.
Yeah. Stop talking to us about nice meals. How's Toca Madera?
It was good. Absolutely enjoyed the environment 100%.
That was a really quick pivot from real estate to restaurants.
It's definitely somewhere that I would go and just like sit. Like I could
just
go there and not
shit.
even eat. Yeah.
And drink. Oh wait, you can't drink.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, the service was kind of doo-doo. It might have just been that day or that server or whatever. But the portions were a little bit small for me personally. We also had the brunch menu.
Oh,
we
interesting.
On the dinner menu yet.
Okay.
I still got like tacos and stuff, but it was good.
I love the concept, but it's so comparative. And in my eyes, I'm not a hater. I just haven't had the best meals at Barbacoa recently.
Yeah.
But like from a local standpoint, like the flair and the environment, some of the appetizers, like
I don't like Barbacoa's environment.
You don't?
Personally.
Oh.
I'm like,
is it too demonish?
Literally, I feel like I'm on like this pathway to just like hell.
Yeah. Just let it out.
I don't know, it's just too dark in there. Like Toca Madera was bright. There was like trees in the middle. It was like cool design concepts.
Dude, they spend a lot of money on their restaurants.
Yeah. And like the bathroom was like all this like pretty black slate tile. And it was just like super sick.
Yeah.
However, they did have, Bree said in the women's bathroom, they had a lady in there handing you a towel asking for a tip.
That's okay.
I was like,
that means you're high class. Pinkies up.
I was like, I wonder, I was like, you think that's like a random person or like Toca Madera hired them? Because
they hired him 100%.
I've never seen that in States. I've seen it in Mexico,
Vegas.
But
yeah. You see it a lot in Vegas.
Yeah.
A lot of like the nightclubs, there's always dudes in there. Like,
I was like, I've only seen that at nightclubs in Cabo.
All right. Well, I got a call and I got a meeting. So
Blake has to bounce.
Over and out.
We'll see you later.
Podcast, mic drop.